How are y'all doing today? This is Onyx Rose of Onyx Rose 9. That's my Substack, but this is my podcast, and it's Onyx Rose, a journey through FFS. Um, Today's subject will be about my pre-op visit that happened this morning at 8 o'clock a.m. But before we get into that, I am going to talk about a couple or three stones, as I like to do at the beginning of each podcast. And I think you'll see why I chose these stones today. And so the first one is green aventurine. Um, Lush green color, almost looks like I don't know, lush, like a forest, pretty opaque-ish. So the first thing when I think about green aventurine, especially since I've worked in metaphysical stores, is the first thing I think is abundance. Um, y- you know, it is a stone of abundance and prosperity. So, but other things I didn't really think about are growth and renewal, um, opportunity, attracting abundance, which, yes, that all goes together. Um, Also provides strength and confidence, which is something I didn't really know, courage and happiness, which, yeah, that all goes. Keeps your emotional body clean. It enhances luck and prosperity. Uh, the way you want to do that, though, to maximize that chance of luck and prosperity, is to carry a lapis with you. Lapis lazuli, that stone is the blue stone with the pyrite flecks and sometimes some white in it or silver. But it's a pretty powerful stone in and of itself. Um, the elements that are associated with the green aventurine are water, earth, and wind. So the reason I chose this stone was not for abundance so much, um, but for the growth, the renewal, strength, confidence, um, keeping my emotional body calm. And these all tie in to my upcoming FFS, which is December 11th. That is 2 weeks Thursday, or maybe in 2 weeks. Yes. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. And yes, pretty excited. So anyway, that's the green aventurine. The second stone that we have is lepidolite, and this is one of my favorite stones. Let's see if I can get a good. Oh, hold on, my lights aren't on. There we go. Let's pop this light on. There we go. Okay, let's see if we can catch a shimmer in there. Um, Yeah, you can see it kinda shimmers. It's got some I forget what the word is called. It's called, like, auralescence or something like that, where it kind of shimmers and, anyway, it's purple and kind of a shimmery white and black mixed in. But lepidolite is the calming stone. It's for self love. It's a calming stone. It's for dreams, stress relief. There's actually lithium in each one of these stones. These stones, I believe, no, it's charite. But this is also a stone of transition. Once again, tying into my FFS coming up. A stone of emotional balance, also known as the peace stone. Um, y- you know, it's so calming, helps provide clarity, stability, and a connection to the higher conscious. Um, Associated with the crown chakra and third eye chakra. So chakra. So give me just a moment. Let me see what I can do here. Okay. For some reason, I can't get into my own video to see activity. Anyway, yeah, it promotes spiritual insight and connection. So once again, I'm going into this surgery thinking and manifesting a good outcome. I am uh, meditating twice a day. I am positivity in this surgery. I am positizing. That's not a real word, but I just made it up. And how are words made up anyway? That's how you make them up. So I am positizing a great result. And the cool thing is, well, we'll get to that in just a minute. But yes, this is the stone of transition. It does have lithium in it, so it is calming. People who take lithium, they take it like bipolar people take lithium because, of manic episodes. And this calms a manic episode. It would be sensible for me to carry this as I do have bipolar disorder, and it's bipolar 1, which means I get manic episodes more than depressive episodes. If I ever get a depressive episode, I do get mixed episodes, which are depressive and I don't think it's depressive. It can be like manic and angry, manic and anger. But anyway, jumping off subject hardcore, that is lepidolite. Um, the third and final stone that we have today is a rough ruby. Now, this is a ruby, but it's rough. It hasn't been tumbled. It's a beautiful specimen. Um, People would kill to have this. People who like rough stones would kill to have this. It's a beautiful stone. It does shine. It's wonderful. So, ruby is associated with July. July is my birth month. It's associated with passion, protection, prosperity. Um, those are some big things. Passion and love, it ignites the inner fire. Yeah, sure. Hey, Ted, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's the passion, and it's the heart and root chakras, so it helps with emotional balance. Um, Let's see, prevent serenity, protection, serenity, security, and strength. Um, Creates a shield around you so that almost impenetrable, so that negative energy does not come through. It protects the wearer from psychic attacks, also, which is great. It's a stone of prosperity and wealth. Everybody knows that about rubies. Kings, queens, pharaohs, everybody had rubies. Um, Good fortune, vitality. Yes, vitality. Inspire motivation, stimulate energy levels, and enhance intuition. So, once again, ties into my FFS journey through protection, emotional healing, opening up the heart and root chakras for balance, igniting inner fire to actually continue to go through with this and continue with great healing. If I told y'all the amount of work I put into getting this FFS approved and set up, it's a lot of work. But we'll leave it at that. So those are the three stones that I chose for today's episode. Uh, so we are going to now move on to bigger and better things than the stones. And actually, I don't know how much better they are. I had my pre-op visit today. So the pre-op, of course, is where you sit with the a member of the surgical team or a member of the um, surgeon's office who will then go over a few things with you. Um, Today, when I thought I would get a lot of information, um, hey, out of my damn mind. How you doing? Um, I thought I would get a lot of information. Didn't really get too much. I Let's see. We gave them my medical history in the sense that what kind of medicines I'm taking, dosages, all of that. We talked with the surgeon, and actually it's pretty sweet. My parents went with me, supporting me. Yay, go parents. And they misgendered me, but that's okay. It was kind of funny and kind of cute. Um, and Egg went, of course, and we talked with the surgeon, and he was very cool. My dad is a retired OBGYN and surgeon. He's delivered a lot of babies. So he's been in the operating room before. He was having questions, and the surgeon was answering them. And I had specific concerns about what parts of my face I wanted worked on and how I wanted it worked on. And I showed a couple pictures of my siblings, and said, I kind of want to look in between this and this, a little bit closer to this. So the talk with the surgeon was great. He went over everything, calmed my nerves, made me at ease and peace with the choice I made. Um, the office assistant, um, the insurance people, uh, were amazing and are amazing. They're very gender affirming there, extremely gender affirming. And I can't tell you how great that is and how great it makes me feel, to the point. And one of the staff is queer. So that's good. They are part of the rainbow family. Um, and they were one of the ones who were pushing so hard to get the insurance to cover what they're covering. And I do have a good bit that's covering. My surgery is going to be 12 to 14 hours long, and I will be under 12 to 14 hours. So it's going to be a clip. Not gonna lie, but the doctor put my fears at ease. Hey, Brandon. Doctor put my fears at ease in the sense that, um, in the sense that the pain, he said the pain is actually manageable and people stop taking pain medication like after 4 or 5 days, so like, and switch to like 800 milligram Tylenol or whatever, 800 milligram, ibuprofen and Tylenol. So you can just switch off, takes Tylenol, then takes some ibuprofen. But like usually by the fourth day, he seemed to say that most of his patients, did not need pain medication anymore. Um, and that's fine. I have had a lot of pain in my life, a lot. Um, so um, yeah, 4 or 5 days doesn't really sound bad, but the pain is extreme, from what I hear. I have not experienced it, but from what I hear, my eyes may swell shut, even though my surgeon said that is probably not gonna happen, but because of the extensive surgery I'm having around my eyes, let's see, I will have surgery under here, and I will have this bone obliterated and put back together and raised up. I'm going to have my nose obliterated, these bones, and then put back together. So there's a chance that I'll have a splint on my nose, but there's a chance that my eyes will swell. I'm going to have a wrap around my head like this and then across like this. Um, because there will be a coronal incision. Well, he'll do it like right about here. Um, and then I just found out today that I will have titanium plates in my face. I will have a titanium plate right here, and a titanium plate right here. Joy of all joys. I did not know that. They're stapling my incision, and I have been told by Christine. Let me redact that name. By one of the medical assistants to the surgeon that the removal of um, the removal of the staples is painful. So that is something I have to go ahead and get ready for. Yay, more pain. Um, but that I in terms of talking with the surgeon, that's I my mind is at ease. Even if my eyes do swell up, even if it is painful for 3 or 4 days, 5 days, that is not a problem. Now, the swelling is going to take, 9 to 14, 15 months to heal, and to go down. Like, in terms of everything settling, it's not a quick process. Um, well, the cool thing is I'm not actually going. Uh, you know what? I asked my surgeon about that, and he said that it's not going to affect any kind of like airport security or like body scanning. And I was like, I don't know. That's a titanium plate. But he said because it's titanium, it's cool. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out the next time I go through security. Yeah, I know. Um, but so he put my mind at ease. He helped me understand that the pain, while maybe extensive for the first couple days, will quickly subside. Um, I am, and I'll tell you another procedure I'm getting. I'm getting a lip lift. So basically, there's going to be a scar under my nose. They'll uh, cut under my nose and take about a centimeter of this area off and lift my lip from the inside. I'll have sutures on the inside of my mouth, also for the chin. So I don't think the sutures are for the nose, but somehow my lip is going to be lifted just a little bit, because it's interesting. The philtrum, which is the distance between your nose to your top lip, for male or people assigned male at birth, is longer than people assigned female at birth. So people assigned female at birth will have a shorter one, therefore presenting more feminine. Also, the nose is something that is another masculine versus feminine trait, in the sense that more male presenting people or people assigned male at birth will have a nose that kind of tips downward, while feminine women, not women, feminine people, but well, people assigned female at birth, there we go, will have a nose that kind of tilts up. Now, I'm not saying it tilts up like way up like that, but instead of hooking down, it's either like a pudge right here or it goes up a little bit. Um, so I we talked about all of the what I wanted. I'm getting buccal fat removal and fat grafts. And those fat grafts are going to help there. And Okay. So I don't know how he got this medically approved, but they did. Like I'm telling you, my insurance coordinators were and are awesome. They're wonderful. They got approved a face and neck lift, which is gangster because I've got like a little double chin stuff happening right here. And I'm trying not to have a facelift without a neck lift. So I'm getting both of those. In other words, I'm going to be tightened up in the face, looking probably, hopefully, 10 years younger than I already am. People say I look young for my age. I'm hoping to look a little bit younger. So all these surgeries, and then of course the forehead surgery, and the orbitals, and then just the chin. They're going to make the chin, instead of being a little wide, they'll make it short. Hey, Brandon, what are you talking about? What do you want? What wouldn't you mind? I missed that. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, um, so Christina, oh God, okay, I gave her name away. Christina is the medical assistant. How about that? Oh, a neck lift. Yes, yes. I think we all could. Well, not all, but there are a few fair of us who could use a neck lift, and I am definitely one of them. So um, Christina did go over my medication list, and I forgot some things. I knew I was, this morning we went carefully over every medication and I still missed one. And that is not necessarily a medication, it's over the counter iron tablets. And it's because I have iron deficiency anemia. And it's really strange because I'm low, like I'm anemic right now, but I'm not anemic enough to have an iron infusion, which is what I usually get. I usually get iron infusions because I've had iron deficiency anemia for, well, since 1996 when I was diagnosed. So, I would always go into an infusion center and get my iron infusions. And now they're trying to make me take over the counter pills because insurance will not uh, allow me to have these shots or infusions until I hit a certain number. And that number is really low. I almost have to be falling out to hit that number. So anyway, I do need an infusion of iron. I feel like that would give me more energy. And that's something that right now the fatigue is heavy. Um, Fatigue with Crohn's disease, fatigue with chronic illnesses is real. It's heavy. It's not like, oh, I work 10 hours and I'm tired. No, it's almost like it's an inability to do daily work. It's an inability to slog through the day of work. When you have chronic fatigue, uh, you know, you are at home and people will think you're resting, but people think you're doing nothing. You're watching TV, but it's not like it's a fun time. Chronic fatigue is just chronic fatigue. It's woo. Um, but so we went over the medications. One of the cool things that we talked about and set up is that my surgeon's office is starting a grassroots outreach program into the community, the trans community. Of course, I'm sure part of it is to get more business, but the other part is they are starting a zine, and it is like grassroots, like old school zines. Um, and one of the things is that they asked me if I wouldn't mind sharing my story. And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't really care. I'm pretty talkative and pretty open about just about everything. So my story, yeah, I'll do it. The first thing we did was just go into this room with these lights set up and a backdrop. And I stood in the front of the backdrop, and the first thing I did was discuss um, I gave my name and my pronouns. Look at this pen right here. My pronouns are she, they. And I do like it when people say she went to the store and they bought some eggs. So you use my pronouns in where you're talking about it like interchangeably. So like for any non-binary person or non-binary femme person in my instance, I would say, she's going to the store and they have a lovely something. Um, um, but yes. So back to the zine. The only thing to do today was, capture my face, let them know this is me pre FFS, let them know why I chose the surgeon I chose, what I would say to people just coming out or exploring their gender, whether they be children, adults, teenagers, people in their 20s, 30s, so on and so forth. And my advice is simple. Start out on in try and find groups. If you're on Facebook, there are a lot of trans groups on Facebook. Join some of them. If you don't feel like talking, don't feel like sharing, sit back, see what's going on. Discord, another great resource. Reddit, well, Reddit is Reddit, but it's got some great resources. There are tons of books you can find, and then the one of I think the main things, and this is how, like, I started by reading books and watching movies, and then going to a support group. And bye, Ted. Thank you so much. We'll talk later. Um, but going to support group. Support groups are where it's at. It's a place that is inherently queer. Usually, if you're going to a trans support group, it is all trans people or people who are exploring their gender, and it is a safe place. Um, you can feel free to say what you want or not say anything at all. But my first really true experience with being out. Be- my first true experience with a support group, um, I met Wendy the Druid. Yeah, we were in the same support group. And so, it is it's a great, and I'm still in that support group online today. And so it is a great resource. I think anybody who is um, thinking about coming out, thinking about gender, wanting to explore their gender, I suggest joining a support group. I suggest joining a chat or Discord, anything where you can just soak up information. In 2006 or 2008, I joined what was a web forum at the time. And, now it is a Discord. Back then it had hundreds of people, and now it has like 97, but it is my refuge. I have been in this group so long, that we've formed bonds. Um, and that's great. So yeah, I would suggest Discords, uh, even online groups, Zoom groups, anything like that, where you may meet like once or twice a month. Socials, trans groups often have socials, where you would go to a queer bar or a queer space, and it's from a specific time, or a restaurant, anything like that. But you are surrounded by queer people. The establishment understands that you're trans people, and usually with trans people, and I'm talking about trans people. So, um, uh, you know, so you're with trans people, and the establishment is trans friendly. So theoretically, you shouldn't get misgendered or anything like that. There should not be any problems. Bars, the safety, it's just safe places to go. Um, y- you know, so after I said my little spiel, then they were like, "Why don't you bring Egg in?" So Egg came in, and she said her little part too. So what they're doing is actually filming me beforehand. Um, and then filming me at 6 months, and then filming me at a year. Um, and as my story grows, and I am going to share part of this podcast with them, because I told them I was running this, and they said, "Oh, good, concurrently, this is going on." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." So that is that is something that I really feel excited about. So now, with that in mind, understanding that, so the most frustrating part is that I actually have to wait for the hospital to give me a call and set up basically the time of the surgery. Even though my surgery is scheduled for 8, apparently it could get pushed back. When I'm talking about pushback, it could be pushed back. I don't know. All I know is it better not be pushed back to like 11. Either way, it's scheduled at 8. As of right now, that's what I know, and that's all I know. Oh, and I know where the hospital is. Um, I don't know anything else because the hospital has not called me. I don't know. I there's just not much I know. I don't know anything about what the hospital is going to say. Apparently there's a lot of questions that the hospital is going to answer. And I haven't heard from them, and that's unfortunate. So it was pretty long with the surgeon and the zine stuff, and taking like vitals and stuff like that. Oh, and one interesting thing is they told me I have to stop taking mushrooms and stop smoking weed. I was like, okay, cool. They were like today, and I was like, okay, cool. So 2 weeks out, word, and then like maybe 3 weeks on the back end. And then, I don't eat mushrooms much anymore. Like I haven't had any mushrooms in. Can I even talk about this? I haven't had mushrooms in like a year. So, but the wacky tobacco, I do smoke on the regular. But that is cut out as of today. I'll have a 420. Oh no, I won't. It's 433. Well, it's 420 somewhere. So after I get off, and yeah, no more until after surgery. So at like 3 weeks after surgery, I will be able to, take it back up again. I've talked to my friend, and he understands and wishes me well on my surgery, and said, no problem, just I'll see you on the back end. And I was like, yeah, 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 cool. Cool. Wink, wink. So yeah, that was interesting. And the funny thing is they pulled me aside, like one of them, and they were like, do you smoke? And I was like, yes. And they're like, you have to stop today, and no mushrooms today anymore. And I was like, okay, thank you. It was kind of cute because they pulled me over away from my parents, which I thought was just, it was cute. It was very thoughtful, of, whether my parents know or not. My parents do not know. They do not know. They don't need to know. They're probably watching this. Not actually, they're not probably watching this, but they will probably see clips. They have a way of getting back to them, so they may find out. And honestly, I'm 52. I'm old enough, and you know, I don't rock the boat in my family because I'm definitely the black sheep. But yeah, that's yeah. I'm kind of trying to stay away from telling them. If they find out, they find out. But I am not going to tell them. I figure. I figure that that's not something that they really need to know. That's personal to me. So yeah, we're just gonna keep it out from them. Yeah. So that was the pre-op. Pretty The pre-op was supposed to be 30 minutes. It turned into 2 hours. But that's because I was asking so many questions. And so was Egg, and so was my dad. We were just rapid fire asking questions. There was a lot of things that they couldn't answer. But there were things they could. So um I have this handy dandy worksheet that is called Sophia, which is my real name, but we'll stick with my middle name, which is Onyx Rose. Yes, that is my middle name. Um, So Onyx Rose's facial feminization surgery checklist. Ding 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 ding. Um, this is not for this particular surgeon. This is for another surgeon, and I'm just going to co-opt this really quickly. This is a pre-surgery checklist starting 4 to 6 weeks before. And so I've already done this emotional preparation, schedule therapy, and of course I have a psychiatrist and a therapist whom I see regularly. Um, you know, join a support group. Of course, I'm a part of a support group. I'm part of many Reddit groups, many Facebook groups. I have friends on TikTok who are trans, Substack. YouTube. I don't have many friends on YouTube, but that's fine. Um, I basically I just and Discord. I do have that kind of a support network online. Um, and the next one is journal your goals and feelings, which I do all the time. A lot of stuff does not end up on Substack. I do keep a manifestation journal, and that usually does not end up on Substack. Um, I that is part of my spiritual practice. Um, and also I've been keeping journals for like years. I've got boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of journals. With random bits, some really bloody, awful poetry, and just random thoughts. And I actually wrote a a 256-page journal that turned from a tea journal where I'm very interested in tea. At that point, I wrote a lot about the different kinds of teas and where you can get them and how it started and all of that. Love tea. Anyway, that tea journal turned into a transition journal. Um, and so it then turned into the beginning of my transition. My first time going out and dressed like me. Um, my first time being out with Egg like me. My first time in groups, and a lot of firsts, and a lot of stuff that continued. But yeah, so let's move on and on. Medical and health. Get surgical clearance from your primary care provider, which I already have. Um, and now this says pause estrogen for 2 weeks before surgery. That is something I do not know because the hospital is the one who is supposed to tell me. And they have not called me. And this is a point of contention with me. Like they have not called me. I feel like I'm unprepared because they are taking their sweet time in calling me. But whatever, I can't stop it in 2 weeks time, because in 2 weeks time is going to be my surgery and I'm still taking estrogen. So um, let's see. It says pause estrogen, pause spironolactone. I never take that anymore. Um, Stop smoking, vaping, and alcohol 4 weeks prior. So this says 4 weeks prior. It's just usually up to the surgeon. I kind of I kind of knew that my surgeon, it wasn't going to be 4 weeks. It wasn't going to be 6 weeks. I knew that I could, it would be close to surgery. I don't drink, so that was never a problem. Um, Discontinue blood thinning meds, supplements. So I don't take any blood thinning meds or supplements. I no, I don't take any of that. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Um, so home and logistics. Arrange for a caregiver for the first 48 to 72 hours post-op. So Egg is going to drop me off at the hospital, and then come back for when I come out and enter recovery. She's going to stay for about an hour or two, and then go home, which is great. I don't need her at the hospital all night. I need her to go home, rest, get a good sleep, get everything ready. And of course, we'll already do this, but like just prep everything as best she can. And then for her to sit, relax, breathe, because it's going to be a stressful time for her. She has to put on her nurse hat. And when she does that, she is, it's stressful and it's high energy. So I just hope that she's resting calm now. I hope that she's like working on her inner peace, because I am asking a lot of her again. And it's the same old song and dance. So here we go. When you transition, there's someone like the person, if your partner stays with you, they're going to go through a transition of their own. Egg is queer. She's also my nurse. She's my loctician. She retwists my locks, and she's been doing it for, I don't know, 8 years now, 9 years. We cut off a lot of my locks, about 8 inches, because they used to be a lot longer, maybe more than that. 10 inches? No, no, I don't know. Maybe more than that. Anyway, yeah, she has to put her nurse hat on, and the nurse hat is hard. It's stressful. So, um, my other caregiver is going to be my bestie. And my bestie is, I'm going to go ahead and name her right now. Her name is Mish Mish. And Mish Mish is going to basically take over for a couple hours when Egg is tired, or just to give Egg time to go somewhere, get some food, sit down, rest, not have to worrying about me. Go for a walk, go to the river. We like to go to the river. The river is peaceful. It's calming. I go to the river for spiritual purposes. Um, it is what it is. It's a peaceful place. And so I just want Egg to have some time to herself to recharge. And Mish Mish is going to help out with that. Also, my parents are on board. My parents are gonna come through, parents. Yeah, they're gonna come through. Um, which, they misgender and dead name me all the time, but come on, they're old, so I kind of have to like, being old is not a good enough excuse. Let's not get it twisted. It's not a good enough excuse, but I I'm giving them a pass, you know. Um, every time they dead name me or every time they misgender me, Egg just politely corrects them. And that's good enough for me. Um, but they're going to come through and help. My siblings may come through and help. I don't know. They may set up some type of like a food chain, which would be great, in the weeks after I'm started healing. But yeah, so 48 to 72 hours post op care. I got it. Proper recovery space, pillows, clean sheets, humidifier. That's one thing I don't have and I need, because as the air is super dry, everything is dry now. And so you see, I can't even like, it's just, so I need a humidifier. I will definitely need one with the nose work. Um, let's see. Blackout curtains. They say blackout curtains. We are not getting blackout curtains in the room where we sleep. It is not like really bright. Even in the sunniest of sunshine, it never gets bright. So maybe just a sheet over the window, a flag, anything like that may help. Um, Let's see. So, stock soft foods. So we're talking about here. Um, let's see. What are we talking about? Jello. Um, Ensure, Boost, ice cream, mashed potatoes, yogurt. These things that have some type of nutrients, but are also cold, and also smushy. nothing that's hard just yet, because I will still have sutures in my mouth. My surgeon seems to think that I'll be able to eat after 2 or 3 days. I'm like, okay, well, and I think what he means is softer foods. But then he said something about graduating to regular eating food in about a week or two. And I'm like, okay, that is cool. We'll give that a test. But I'm not going to test it too hard. Um, so, yes, fill out prescriptions ahead of time. That has already been taken care of. The prescriptions were called in today. They're ready today. We are picking them up today. Um, and that's that. Set up entertainment, audiobooks, Netflix, podcasts, coloring books. I do not color. My coloring is not within the lines, and I understand that coloring not in the lines is genius, but I just don't. I'm not good at staying within any kind of lines. And so, the audiobook thing is cool, but I would there are books that I want read to me that are not on audiobook yet. So, Egg did say she would read those books to me, but I'm not going to put her through that situation now. I do have audiobook access, so I will see if I can find one that's good. Other than that, I have music. I love music. I've got my phone, and I've got games on my phone and all the apps on my phone. Um, I can bring my laptop in if I think I need it. um, I can bring my tripod in, whatever I need to record. Um, and we've got wedges and pillows and all of that. So that seems good. So post-surgery recovery checklist, take all medication as prescribed. That seems like something you don't have to say, especially with a surgery like this, but you never know. Some knucklehead and chucklehead may decide that they don't need their medication. My mom actually told me a story today that she had dental work one time, and she just did not take her medicine on schedule. And she said she was in the worst pain she's ever felt. And that woman has given childbirth 3 times. So, um, y- you know, um, yes, 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 yes. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, take all medications as prescribed. Yes. Uh, watch for infection. Signs: fever, redness, pus, worsening pain. So there could be something called hematoma, and that's just a bloody pus, like a blood thing on my face. Like, it would be like something filled with blood. And that's a hematoma. If I have one of those, it's bad. I'm supposed to call my surgeon, and I will have my surgeon's number um, over. Um, I will have my surgeon's overnight number, and that's great. So I feel good about that. Um, Attend all follow-up appointments. So I will definitely be doing that. All follow-up appointments. I think my first follow-up appointment is um 1 or 2 days after surgery, maybe 2 days after surgery, I think, because I will have to stay in the hospital overnight for observation. And then once my surgeon comes and does his rounds the next day, I will be able to leave. So while it's a 12 to 14-hour surgery, I will be at the hospital max, I think, you know, 37, 36 hours, 38 hours, I think. In other words, a day and a half. It shouldn't be much more than that. It really shouldn't. Um, so, wound care and hygiene. Wound care, clean incisions and wash hair per instructions. So, I have what's kind of like silicone gel and arnica. Arnica is for the facial bruisings and stuff like that. This silicone gel type stuff, I don't even remember the name of it. Hold on, let me see. Yeah. I got this cute little bag today. Woody, woody, woot. And in it is the arnica gel. Arnica. And also, now this is Stratoderm gel. Stratoderm gel. Can we see that? Yes, we can. For scar therapy. So this is going to be what I put on this incision right here. It's going to be filled with staples, and of course there will be blood and pus, but I'm supposed to use a Q-tip, to kind of gently put the blood and pus away. Yes, this is my swag bag, but this is a small swag bag. I will get a better one later, and I'm looking forward to that. I love swag. This pen is swag. Let me tell you, Egg is ordering stuff for her company, new swag stuff, and she hooked me up with these nice pens. I'm a sucker for a pen, a nice pen that writes well. Um, so, of course, I will have to sleep with my head elevated. Um, that's a no-brainer when you're getting facial surgery. Can't flip and flop. You'll really mess up your face. Um, so, sleeping up. I have a wedge and a U pillow and a bunch of other pillows, and that'll be enough to prop me up. The medicine will do sufficiently to knock me out, and I'll be in and out of in and out stages, and that's good. I'm gonna need that. I don't need to be lucid 100% of the time, or maybe I do and sit with the pain. I posted something that says you don't need to smoke, you don't need to drink, you don't need to fuck. If you have pain, try sitting with it, just sitting with it, and allow it to allow it to move through you. But the only way that works is by sitting with it and understanding it. So yeah, yar yar yar. Oh, we have one more page. The next one is emotional and physical healing. Resume estrogen when clear. Of course, I don't know when that is. I don't know when I'm supposed to stop because once again, the hospital has been a problem. Avoid strenuous activity for 4 to 6 weeks. Now, this is from another surgeon that I was going to go to, and that fell through. But I don't know if it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks. My surgeon seems to think that I can be like boom, 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 and that's good. Practice gentle facial movements. So I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe a gentle smile, a gentle pushing of my nose, a gentle like raising of my eyebrows, a wiggling of my ear. No, I'm just joking. One thing I did find out today is because of my facelift, I will have a scar here and a scar back here for my neck lift, which I guess I'm gonna have to like use makeup on the regular now because I'm gonna have a scar right up under my lip. That's okay. I've got makeup on today, yo. I think I did a good job. I don't usually wear makeup, so I think I did a good job. So practice facial movements. Keep a recovery journal. That's important. So yeah, I'm gonna keep a recovery journal, and my recovery journal is basically my podcast. But there will that no, the journal will not make it to Substack. Maybe in a year, but recovery journals can be painful, really vulnerable. And sometimes I'm not ready to share that side with Substack. On Substack, I'm just like, whatever goes, whatever goes. But if it's really painful, I usually don't bring it up on Substack or something like that. Maybe I should, because isn't it Hemingway who said, "Write your truth and write hard about it," or something like that? So, write your pain, or whatever the most painful thing you've ever felt, and write hard about it, something like that. But it's an inspiring quote. Notes and affirmations. Oh, so keep a recovery journal, first of all, and then celebrate milestones. Your first shower, your first walk outside. That is going to be great. Your first selfie. And now, so the first time I see myself in a mirror, I'm not. I hope I don't like scare like Macaulay Culkin and hear Home Alone, where you go ah. I hope I don't do like that, or think I'm a monster. Um, I don't want to look like a monster. I don't want to feel like a monster. I realize if I look in the mirror like after my surgery, I am going to look like a monster, and that's okay. That is okay because after time, the swelling will heal, everything will go into place, and I'm going to look fleeky deaky. I have belief in that. Um, so, notes and affirmations. Healing is not linear, and that's a good thing to understand. Healing is never linear. You may have setbacks. You may heal faster. Some people heal faster than others. Some people heal slower. You may have scarring issues. You may have swelling issues that don't um, heal in your way, and you may have to get a revision. But healing is not linear, just like my transition has not been linear. Transition is not linear. There are people, I will say, who do like have a plan. Where they say, boom, 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 boom. I'm going to do this all in 2 years. And that's old school. That's how it used to be old school. Like you did a real life test, which is where you had to dress in the gender you wanted to be before you could get hormones, access to gender affirming care. And that is fucking ridiculous. I can't believe that. And I actually did that. I had to do that. So it's scary, and it's not safe. I, I I'm glad that that's not something that has to be done anymore. But back then, it did have to be done. It was part of the process. Um, so um, you know, um, Notes and affirmations. Healing isn't linear. Be gentle with yourself. Definitely, I'm going to be gentle with myself. I understand that this is a traumatic surgery and a lot of a lot to process. So I will give myself some grace. I will manifest a great recovery. I will speak with my therapist. I will speak with my psychiatrist. I will speak with my Crohn's doctor, my gastro, my kidney doctor, everybody, my internist. I'm keeping everybody abreast of what's going on. My hormones doctor, my gender affirming care doctor. Shout out to Vita Care and Jewel. Um, you know, and so this is this is my Onyx Rose's facial feminization checklist. Um, and that is really all I have for today. I think, the next time I come on for this is going to be maybe next week, Friday, because we will be getting really close to surgery day. And on Friday of next week. Let's see. Really quickly, I'm going to look at my calendar. Calendar. Friday of next week is the 5th. So yeah, I'll go live on the 5th. I may pop on earlier, who knows, but specifically for this podcast, I think the next day will be the 5th. And hopefully by then I will have more information. If the hospital calls me before then I will pop on live and let y'all know what the hospital says. Because I'm really interested in that. Um, Otherwise, y'all can catch me from time to time on Wendy the Druid's show, Signals and Voices, also Trauma and Voices from time to time, and my own lives with Egg that I do. So, yeah, thanks for watching, all y'all people. Brandon, Ted, let's see who else was on. Let me shout y'all out. Ted, Brandon, out of my damn mind. Thank y'all for joining. There's one other person that I can't tell. Maybe it's myself. Anyway, peace and chicken grease. I appreciate y'all signing on today, and we'll see you again. Abiento.